Members of the LGBTQ+ community push for the Respect for Marriage Act, protecting marriage rights for all.
Just behind me, APASA's annual night market is about to take place. Annenberg TV News is next.
The U.S. men's soccer team advances to the knockout stage of the World Cup for the first time since 2014. Hi, I'm Daniel Dana.
And I'm Tracy Wang. The U.S. faces the Netherlands on Saturday with a trip to the quarterfinals on the line.
A nail-biting soccer match today for fans across the country, as well as here at Tom's Watch Bar in downtown LA. The U.S. men's national team faced off against Iran in their final group stage match. The final score? The U.S. won, Iran 0.
I'm so relieved the boys won on my birthday and we had a fantastic game. Happy birthday! Yeah! USA!
It was a really tough loss, but played our hearts out. We'll see you guys in 4 years to do this on your own soil.
The score was even until the 38th minute when, boom, a game-winning goal from U.S. midfielder Christian Pulisic.
Dest is stuck in behind, Dest into the middle, Pulisic! Scores!
This highly anticipated match comes amidst a recent controversy following a social media post from the U.S. men's national team. The post displayed an Iranian flag without the Islamic Republic symbol to show support for women's rights in Iran.
Yeah, the intent of the post was to show support for women's rights. It was meant to be a moment. We made the post at the time. All of the other representations of the flag remain consistent and will continue to.
In response, Iran state media called for FIFA to impose a 10-game suspension on the U.S. for a, quote, distorted image of the flag. FIFA still has yet to respond. The U.S. needed a win today in order to advance to the round of 16 after 2 draws against Wales and England. Next up, the U.S. will face off against the first place of Group A.
I'm so pumped for our next match against the Netherlands, and I know we're going to kill them, so let's go!
Iran eliminated the U.S. in the 1998 World Cup, but today, the U.S. rewrote history. For Annenberg Media, I'm Marco Ramirez.
Some academic workers have reached a tentative agreement with the University of California schools. This is the largest higher education worker strike in the nation's history.
This gives me a lot of hope for academia, and they actually came to the table and started bargaining in a better, more appropriate way. There's all these big barriers that jump in the way, especially if you're someone that doesn't have generational wealth. We can make a difference. We can make things change. And just because we love doing the research and we are happy to be at a prestigious institution, we're the reason that it works. And we just want to be able to do that research and not worry about the finances.
Postdocs at UC schools are still on the picket line in solidarity with student TAs and researchers. If the new contract is approved, the salary for postdoctoral scholars would increase by as much as 23% and by 29% for academic researchers. Across UC schools, some faculty members are not teaching classes or submitting grades until the strike ends.
Fentanyl deaths in Los Angeles County increased dramatically between 2016 and 2021. The synthetic opioid was found in a majority of overdose deaths nationwide last year. Now take a look at these numbers. There were 109 fentanyl deaths in 2016, and that number increased to a staggering 1,504 in 2021. About 70,000 people die each year in the U.S. from overdoses related to synthetic opioids like fentanyl, which are even stronger than heroin. Today, the LA County District Attorney's Office and the Health Department announced a working group that will address the fentanyl crisis through prevention, education, and enforcement.
Black and Latino families are forced to leave a Palm Springs neighborhood 6 decades ago and are asking the city to pay more than $2 million. Survivors and descendants of more than 200 families gathered at Lamar Park to explain how the city's actions affected their economic opportunities. They talked about their hardships and their families that they experienced.
Think about it, it just breaks my heart. My family was split, a lot of emotional trauma. It was just an ordeal, atrocity. My father worked hard and built our home, and we had to leave it behind.
The neighborhood known as Section 14 was 1 square mile. An attorney for the group says an apology from the city of Palm Springs is just not enough to compensate the victims for the financial and emotional damage they have endured.
The city 14 months ago, issued an apology, but nothing has happened since then. There's been no actions to make these families whole. There's been no actions to engage with them, to provide a process that would compensate them for the racial trauma that they experience, the financial losses that they experience, and the harms that they have suffered.
The Palm Springs City Council posted a request for proposals to help develop preparations program for those affected by the evictions. The proposals are due December 15th.
The U.S. Senate passed the Respect for Marriage Act protecting same-sex and interracial marriage. 12 Republicans joined Democrats in the historic vote. People have been gathering at the Capitol, rallying in support of marriage rights. The bill passed this afternoon by a vote of 61 to 36. The bill requires states to recognize same-sex marriages performed in any other state.
Today, after months of hard work, after many rounds of bipartisan talks, and after many doubts that we could even reach this point, we are taking the momentous step forward for greater justice for LGBTQ Americans.
The bill is expected to move quickly to the House, and if approved, it will then be sent to President Biden to sign into law.
The USC Street Medicine Services program received $1 million in funding. The initiative is the first full-time city-funded street medicine team in Los Angeles and offers on-site services to the unhoused. The program will now be expanded to neighborhoods in South LA and Hollywood. Councilwoman Nitya Raman said this type of care can mean the difference between life and death.
Annenberg hosted a panel discussion today about the role of global media, how it's played in the decline of democracy, and what journalists should do about it. Among the panelists was the executive editor of the LA Times.
We have presence on all the social platforms, and our presence also should be not to point out where things are not true and to bring the authority we have as the Los Angeles Times to the stories that are most important to consumers. That's part of our obligation. And, I think we have to continue to get better at it, right?
The panelists hope to spark discussion on how to combat misinformation in an ever-changing media landscape.
The USC Dornside Prison Education Project, otherwise known as PEP, has approval to offer its first 4-credit class for incarcerated students.
The core of our work is that we offer classes in correctional facilities in Southern California. We recruit USC faculty and in some cases students to teach these classes. They can be in any discipline.
So our ultimate goal is to work towards a BA program, and then this credited class is sort of a good first step on that. Being incarcerated, people are often reduced to numbers or their charges. They also find in the classroom, this is somewhere where they get an aspect of their identity back.
Currently, over 100 in-custody students are involved in the PEP program. There are over 60 students and faculty members involved in the USC chapter. USC is now the largest chapter of the program. When finalized, USC would be one of the only private doctoral universities to offer a BA program to incarcerated students.
The college football rankings have just been announced. See where USC ranks after a suspense-filled rivalry game against the Fighting Irish.
USC's PAD project is hosting a PAD donation drive. Find out where and when you can donate next.
APASA's second annual night market highlights diversity. We'll take you live to a celebration filled with lots of food and entertainment.
Worried your friend's struggling but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could write them a text or knit them a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write them a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand, trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
We're now going to reporter Liza Monasabian, where APASA, the Asian Pacific American Student Assembly, is getting ready for their annual night market.
I'm here on McCarthy Quad, where APASA's biggest event of the year is taking place. Just last spring, there were over 1,700 participants here on campus, but tonight they're anticipating an even greater turnout. Volunteers are now setting up for Night Market. The event brings together student performers, cultural organizations, and local food vendors, drawing inspiration from one of America's largest Asian food markets, the 626 Night Market in LA. Their goal, to highlight the diversity of the Asian Pacific Islander Desi American community. We spoke with Yusuf Rahman about what it takes to put it all on.
Our theme this year was Plant Your Roots, and so the idea was that we wanted this event, once it came to fruition, to bring as many students together as possible and sort of give people a chance to sort of ground themselves in a community and have people around them.
There's no shortage of amazing activities to participate in, from free food to free performances and prizes. So all of that is waiting for you tonight. For Annenberg Media, I'm Liza Monasabian. Back to you in the studio.
Dancers, professors, and deans from the Kaufman School of Dance joined students at the 32nd Street Elementary School for a performance in collaboration with the initiative Kaufman Connections.
The reason why we started this program was because one of their teachers literally walked across the street and said, we need dance at our school. So dance is often the program that doesn't exist in K through 12 education, or it's the one that's pulled the quickest. So I love today what one of our professors said, that we might see you up here one day. You know, you might be it. That's actually my biggest personal dream, is to have one of our Kaufman Connection students actually end up one day being a Kaufman dance major. That would be incredible. Yeah.
The program allows Kaufman performers to teach dance techniques down the street on 32nd Street. During today's show, dancers performed 2 pieces, including one choreographed by USC professor and former Broadway performer Salima Knight. After each performance, the audience hosted a Q&A for performers. Founding director of Kaufman Connections, Tiffany Bong, was excited about the expansion of the program.
So, a few weeks ago, before the Thanksgiving break, we've had a big Kaufman Connections showcase. So from first grade all the way to 5th graders, each class had the opportunity to showcase what we've taught them throughout the first semester. And it was really nice for everyone to just come together, cheer everyone on. Yeah.
Leaders and teachers in the Kaufman Connections program are looking forward to more collaborations with elementary students next semester. Now, I wish I could be, dancing outside, but it is so cold right now, Daniel.
Yes, it is. I am from Miami, and I'm not used to this weather. I mean, this is like 4 layers for me. Like, I need to be bundled in a parka, a blanket, a sweater, you name it. This is freaking freezing for me.
I know. Where is the LA weather? I'm looking for warmth here, but I need my jacket. More jackets, actually.
Yes.
So we'll get to that with Marissa now. How's the weather looking, Marissa?
I'm with you, Daniel and Tracy. I'm always cold, so I need tons of blankets. If I could do the weather report in my fuzzy socks and sweatpants, I definitely would. But let's take a look at the current conditions. We are currently at 61 degrees, so for LA, it might as well be freezing. But let's take a look at the rest of the forecast. We have overcast skies all week and lows in the upper 40s to the lower 50s across the board. Thursday and Friday, we have mostly cloudy days and a slight chance of overnight rain Thursday that will continue into the early morning on Friday. Now, I know some of you will be cheering on the Trojans Friday in Las Vegas against the Utah Utes, and it will be slightly chilly at the stadium. Temperatures should be dropping to the mid-50s around game time, so a jacket might be a good idea. Anyways, this week in LA, we have a high of 62 on Saturday and a high of 58 on Sunday. Now, let's talk about the PAD project at USC. It's a program working to end stigmas about periods and is holding a menstrual product drive this month. They're collecting tampons, pads, and panty liners for the unhoused community. The first week of December, The Pad Project will donate the products to a shelter known as the Skid Row Community Refresh Spot. We spoke to Pad Project members about why this initiative is important to them.
People have this misconception that only women have periods, only women bleed, but really that's not true. There are a lot of queer people who are experiencing homelessness, and so we want to cater to all populations.
It's something that it's not talked about a lot. People who face period poverty, especially within the houseless community, who don't have the money for period products, whether that's pads, tampons, menstrual discs, cups, whatever. I think when people discuss the houseless community, a lot of the time their mind goes to like clothes, foods, things like that, which are also very important, but no one ever considers menstruators.
Tomorrow is the last day to donate. On the screen, you can see a list of the 11 drop-off locations on campus. They are most in need of tampons right now. For more ways to get involved, visit @Pad Project USC on Instagram. Now, let's send it over to Bianca and Will in sports.
USC jumps to number 4 in the latest college football playoff rankings. And USC faces Utah for the Pac-12 title with a playoff berth on the line. All that and more coming up next on Sports.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Welcome back to ATVN Sports. I'm Will Camardella.
And I'm Bianca Bueno. The U.S. men's national soccer team paved the way out of the group stage for America with a World Cup win over Iran in a 1-0 battle. The team will now advance to the round of 16. The national team hasn't scored back-to-back World Cup shootouts since 1930. A line to score the team's only goal in the 38th minute and suffered a pelvic contusion while doing it. But the game came down to the wire in extra time when defender Walker Zimmerman cleared a header from Iran to save the day.
Proud. I think that, the first half we showed what we can do soccer-wise, played a really good first half. Second half we showed what we can do determination-wise. The guys grinded, they gave every single ounce of energy, and we're undefeated going into the next round.
I've got to agree with Coach on this one. We played a stellar game defensively. We only allowed Iran 4 shots the entire game. And I mean, talk about Christian Pulisic. That is why they call him Captain America. What a way to score your first World Cup goal.
It is a really strong effort from Pulisic, specifically in the USA team as a whole. I mean, you talk about grit, you talk about wanting it. Hey, who says soccer isn't our best sport? That's a guy who really wants to make an impact, really go into the dirty areas to try and score that goal. USA is moving on, and they deserve to.
It's going to be great, and I cannot wait to see them play the Netherlands. And apparently, Christian Pulisic should be back.
Yeah, the one thing I would focus on for this next game is just trying to play more aggressive for the full 90 minutes. In the first half, they really took it to Iran, really did a good job dictating pace of play. In the second half, I thought they got a little bit passive, trying to play not to tie. I think you have to play the way that got you with the lead to continue to try and get a second goal. But the penultimate college football playoff rankings are out, and for the first time in the playoff era, the USC Trojans are ranked in the top 4. The Trojans move from 6-4 after securing their 11th win, while Ohio State drops out of a playoff position for the moment after losing at home to arch-rival Michigan. Undefeated Georgia remains the nation's top-ranked team, while the Wolverines and TCU both move up a spot. 2-loss Alabama rounds out the top 6 after winning the Iron Bowl. Well, we know the top 4, USC finally in. What are your thoughts on these rankings?
I mean, this is just great for the Trojans to be in the top 4. That is unbelievable, so unique. And now that leaves them in a place where they can qualify for the college football playoffs. All they have to do is just win this Friday.
And you know what? It's a deserving spot for them. The last 2 weeks they've had, you go on the road to a tough UCLA opponent and you find a way to win that close game. Then you go home to a Notre Dame team that was playing really well. A convincing win at home. Really no doubt in the second half they were going to win that game. USC is the 4th best team in the country.
They are, but it was a little nerve-wracking for USC fans because there were concerns Ohio State was still going to be put at number 4 despite their loss to Michigan.
Yeah, well, you know, we're at a point in the season where style points aren't going to matter so much, and the rankings are basically taking care of themselves, right? LSU was ahead of them, and they got exposed as being frauds because they lost a game to Texas A&M. As far as Ohio State goes, your biggest game of the season is to beat Michigan. And not only did they lose, they lost convincingly, got dominated in the second half and the fourth quarter. USC deserves to be where they are.
They did. TCU undefeated. It makes sense, and we're happy.
Win, and they're in. That's the bottom line.
For USC to hold on to their top 4 ranking with an 11-1 record, they must avenge their only loss this season against the 9-3 Utah Utes in the Pac-12 championship title game this Friday at Las Vegas's Allegiant Stadium. The Trojans look to avoid a second loss to Utah this season after their tight end Dalton Kincaid dominated the last game. Head coach Lincoln Riley weighed in on what playing Utah for a second time means at practice today.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to get ready to go play again. I think you got to understand that maybe the way the first one played out is not necessarily the way the second one plays out. A lot of times, actually, they play out very, very differently. And just in terms of flow of the game and just kind of how it goes. So I think you just got to reset yourself.
Quarterback Caleb Williams will, of course, be a big part of the Trojans' game plan on Friday by making plays both inside and out of the pocket. Williams spoke today about how he developed into such a scrambling threat.
Coach Riley, we talk about it probably every week, and he always does remind me though that I am a little bit athletic because since being in college, I've tried to stay in the pocket a lot more and stand in there. So he does remind me every once in a while that I am athletic. So get out and run sometimes.
USC will have just 2 more days to prepare for its rematch with Utah before heading to Vegas for its biggest game of the season on Friday night.
And thank you all for tuning into ATVN Sports this semester, and we'll see you next year.
Love is in the air this holiday season. We have tips on maintaining a healthy relationship in college.
Lávate las manos por 20 segundos como Elmo.
Hay algo especial acerca de este lugar. Se siente como un hogar, una sala debajo del cielo y los árboles. Rodeado de aire fresco y la naturaleza. Todo aquí para que lo disfrutemos y para que lo cuidemos. Tenemos la responsabilidad de cuidar de esta tierra que llamamos casa, de preservarla para las generaciones que vienen. Cada acción pequeña contribuye para un cambio mayor y cada uno de nosotros podemos hacer la diferencia. Hay algo especial acerca de este bosque. Es un lugar donde se hacen recuerdos y juntos podemos preservarla y protegerla.
I don't have to tell you, dating in college can often be confusing and frustrating. Navigating through all the swipes, the sex, and the unanswered texts is definitely not easy.
A lot of people enter college with a relationship that they've had in high school, but suddenly, new possibilities open up. What that does is not only create like this newfound sense of independence that you feel like you have to take advantage of, but I think like all of these things play into even your dating culture. And so a lot of people feel really pressured because you feel like, okay, should I start dating someone right away? Should I explore my options a little bit more? Should I partake in hookup culture? How do all of these things go? And then where do I find the balance between all of that?
It's a little colder than usual for this time of the year, and cuffing season is in full swing. So whether you are the one-night kind or the lifetime love kind, here are some tips to navigate your dating life in college. Number 1, communicate what you are looking for. If they are thinking baby names and you are on your thank you next game, it's time to have a chat. Number 2, don't ghost people. Most of us would rather face a polite rejection than refreshing our DMs 800 times a day. Number 3, put yourself and your education first. Listen up, Trojans, you are paying $2,000 a credit. It's okay to skip some dates for some grades sometimes. Number 4, asking for consent is hot. Pressuring someone is absolutely not. Now, I know that dating rules and pools are constantly evolving in college, but so are the quality of pickup lines. Daniel, out of all the cute, flirtatious messages I'm sure you receive, which one made you go, oh my God, yes, instantly?
First of all, thank you, Critfy. I would have to say there are some creative ones. One funny one is someone put a parachute emoji in my DMs and they went, oh my God, looks like I landed in your DMs. How are you doing? So that really put a smile on my face. And another one, someone's like, what's your Venmo? That'll always do it.
Wow, that's really creative. I mean, us millennials just get, are you a fruit because you're a pineapple? So I think we've got some work to do down here. On that note, Daniel, can you tell me what's trending down in the Gen Z world these days?
I would love to. Welcome to our very last Trending Tuesday, everybody. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary just announced their last word of the year, which is gaslighting, meaning behavior that's mind manipulating, grossly misleading, downright deceitful. Today I asked students their thoughts on the word of the year and any other words they believe should have been considered.
I don't really use it that often. I think it's an interesting word. I think gaslighting sucks. I think just making someone feel like they're not really what they're thinking is like wrong, I think is just a very bad thing. I think Slayer should be the word of the year. And gagged me too. That means like when you're shocked. Gagged me.
I think the word of the year should have either been slay or boots. Slay is like, that's so good, like it rocks. I say slay way too much. And boots is like anything. Like, hey boots, like what's up boots, that was boots.
That was boots indeed. Now that was also a lot of slang being thrown around. If you hear a word from one of your friends and you don't really know what it means but don't want to expose yourself as not being in tune and cool, then I would befriend Urban Dictionary, an online glossary of slang words. Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News and our very last Trending Tuesdays this semester. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I am Daniel Dana.
And I'm Tracy Wang. For more coverage, watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Annenberg Media. Good night, everybody.